We're going to check in now with our political analyst and state political columnist for the New York Post, Fred Dicker, who joins us from Albany. And Fred, there's some real finger pointing in this one.
Well, this independent body, Liz, was created about 5 or 6 years ago in the wake of Governor George Pataki being shown to be manipulating state authorities that are supposed to be at least semi-independent. So the legislature, and it was surprising that it became law, created this independent entity to take a look at authorities whose members are supposed to act in the best interest of the public. Well, it took a look at the Environmental Facilities Corporation and this decision involving over $500 million in federal funds that were supposed to go for pure waters type programs, and found, surprise, surprise, that the Environmental Facilities Corporation didn't look at the evidence, didn't look at the information coming from the Environmental Protection Agency, the federal agency, didn't let the public know what they were considering until the very last minute. And I would note that this agency, of course, is controlled by Governor Cuomo, and it did what the governor wanted. So the bigger picture story here is that most of these state agencies, while they may have independent boards and be called corporations, as this one is, really are under the thumb of whoever the governor is.
I'll just play devil's advocate for a second and say, look, you got a very expensive bridge project you got to pay for, so you get a little creative, and if it sticks, it sticks, and if it doesn't, it doesn't. I mean, can you fault them for trying, or was it really an egregious error?
Well, I think it was the latter. It was egregious. First of all, you have an obligation to the public. This is a public entity, and if there are requirements for public information to be put out that this is being considered, they certainly should do it. Secondly, the real problem, Liz, is that you have people on these boards who get appointed and they beat their chest about how proud they are to be on an Environmental Facilities Corporation, but they're really stooges for the people who put them there. There's no independence. Look what's going on as we speak, and it's not a full story out there yet, but right now up at the Lake George Commission, the governor, through his own emissary, is trying to oust the executive director because the governor doesn't like what he's doing, even though the board up there likes this individual. I think his name is David Wick. There's more to that story, but this is more often the reality than the image that they want out there, that these boards that are supposed to be acting in the public's interest really are carrying out the political wishes of the people who put them there.
And when you go back to the narrow picture, there's still no clear explanation of how they're going to pay for this bridge, is there?
There isn't, and in fact, there was an expert on these kinds of issues in Albany yesterday who was predicting, she was predicting, that in fact state thruway tolls across New York are going to have to go up dramatically to pay for the Tappan Zee Bridge. You may recall that the governor during the campaign refused to say how much it was going to be. Surely they know what the tolls are going to be. They must have those numbers, and he still hasn't said. You're absolutely right.
All right, Fred, thank you for that. And Fred, of course, on the radio, live from the state capitol, weekday mornings, 10 to 11, Talk 1300 AM.